before you today to discuss important matters. We ask for your guidance and wisdom. You are the source of all knowledge and understanding. Therefore, we seek your direction in our decision-making process. Father, help us to listen attentively to one another with open hearts and minds.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We have a quorum. Mr. Linhart, Mrs. Silva, and myself. Along with, this is our city attorney and our city manager and head of our planning department. We'll start with citizen comments, but I do want everybody to be aware that if you're going to speak on something in particular, you may wait for the public hearing on that particular item rather than speaking multiple times. We're trying, in the essence of time, we'd like to just keep everybody up everybody else. Do you have a question?
Yes. Is there a difference in time depending?
I think it's 5 minutes.
If it's the same, then
Yeah,
totally.
it's 5 minutes, but only one time
Right.
per person, okay?
No worries, yeah.
Unless it's on a different agenda item, okay?
Thank you.
All right, so we will open a public hearing at 6:02 p.m. A request to rezone property from residential single-family R1 to business B at 1295 Hospital Boulevard. If there is any citizen comments, do you want to speak on this? Or are you good? You can, yeah. You want to? Okay, you want to do the item. There's no citizen comments at this time. I will close the public hearing at 6:02 p.m. on November the 5th. Moving to old business, consideration and action to approve regular meeting minutes for the October 1st, 2025 meeting. If y'all will look over, and then we'll entertain a motion for approval or not.
I make a motion to approve.
No, second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consideration and action to approve special meeting minutes for the October 14th, 2025 meeting, and if there's any citizen comments. That being said, I'll entertain a motion. Consideration, the one that we had
Oh, yeah.
on the 14th. Under old business.
We did this one, and so this is one we're approving. I make a motion to approve.
Okay.
You wanna read it? You wanna read
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, this is, okay. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving to new business, consideration and action on an amendment to the future land use plan map for an area in the general vicinity of the intersection of 3rd Street, Business Loop 181 North, and Hospital Boulevard. At this time, I can allow, you want to go ahead and speak to this, and then we'll allow citizen comments after that.
John, just make sure you want John to
Yeah.
help out.
Yes. As you know, we had, to amend the land use plan, because a zoning was done, a zoning change was done in the previous meeting. So we have, a memo and the maps to present for the change. And John, would you like to explain exactly what's on the memo and the changes we're making on the land use plan? John? Oh,
Right.
There you go.
oh, there you go.
Yeah, so basically, anytime you rezone property, it needs to be in conformance with the city's adopted future land use plan. And so since we've had a couple of zonings, one last time, and then the one that's on tonight's meeting, that are in an area where the future land use plan shows it as single family or residential, but there are rezoning to either commercial or business. This item will basically change the future land use on 3 properties in that area to, in one case, from civic institutional to commercial, and in the other cases, from single-family residential to commercial. I do want to clarify that the future land use designations are different than a zoning classification. So what in your future land use plan is called commercial retail doesn't necessarily correspond to just the commercial district in zoning. It could be the commercial district or your business district. And so they're not a one-to-one relationship with those two. But basically what this would do is amend your future land use map to make those 3 properties designate them as commercial. That will allow those rezonings to one of the types of commercial or retail rezoning categories.
At this moment, if there's any citizens' comments,
Yes, do we need to stand or?
you could sit there, and we're all pretty close proximity.
Actually, I have some questions in regards.
State your name.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry, yes. I'm Tiffany Dawson. I live at 1909 Frick Street, so near the general vicinity areas mentioned. And I could not find in the city ordinances where it says, or even in a law, because I've looked at other states, of where you can amend after zoning. I understand they are different. I'm trying to understand how it is legal to do the amendment, which I could not find, after the rezoning, because as far as I have confirmed is that this gets presented, it is still voted upon. So how could we have rezoned something that the amendment could still not be passed?
I'm gonna defer to.
So this is just a recommending body, and so even if they recommend for it not to be approved, the city council will undoubtedly approve it because they're the ones who approve the zoning. The zoning must conform to the plan. So this is a directive from the city council back to the planning and zoning commission to send forth this amendment. That's the way it is interpreted.
So you can rezone something saying that I'm going to amend it in the future?
Yes, so the thing, yes, you can, because right now, well, we can get your legal opinion in a second, but understand that we have a comprehensive plan process already
That's
moving.
the first thing, yeah.
That's right. Zoning happens organically, though. It doesn't happen just when the comprehensive plan's updated. Those comprehensive plans are often updated every 10 years, but they can be amended at any point along the way. Ideally, sure, if you have the opportunity to amend the plan prior to the zoning being done, you can. There's nothing that says you have to. There's nothing that says that it's illegal not to, because they're following it right up with that amendment. I mean, you may not like it, but there's
Well, it's not
nothing
even
about
about,
that.
of course I
that
don't
is
like it, we know I don't like it. But
Right.
the fact is I'm trying to find legally how that applies, because I've looked at, and I understand cities are different, but I've looked at like so many different cities.
Mhm.
And when you go to apply for rezoning, if it is not in accordance with the future land use plan, it literally states you have to do the amendment first.
Mhm.
So that's where it
Right,
doesn't
so
make any
understand too,
sense.
though, that the only thing that you're gonna find when you're looking in other cities or in case law or anything like that
Uh-huh.
are lawsuits that have gone up and been unsuccessful on appeal. Lawsuits that are moot when they go, you're not gonna find those. This is a moot point once this amendment is approved.
Okay.
So there's not going to be litigation that's ever gonna go through a court or to an appellate court once it conforms.
Okay,
So
so
you're not
then-
gonna find those instances.
So then why is there a hearing on it? If it's already a moot point and the amendment is for sure gonna go through, then what is the point of having a public hearing?
It's required to have a public hearing, so we're having a public hearing.
Okay. All right, well, I am, so I can make it clear, I am not in favor of the rezoning for multiple reasons, the amendment of the future land use plan. I'm also not in favor of the rezoning from residential to business because it is in a civic institutional, and I do feel that it should remain that way considering it is right next to a park. It is right next to the nursing home, and that's why it is in that zone, and it's also right next to the EMS and fire station and the veterans home. That's all civic institutional, and I really do feel that it should stay that way until citizens are taken into consideration, which is part of the future land use plan, and to be updated from that point forward. And I also don't understand how there's already a business there when it is residential. Anybody answer why that is?
Okay, so it was a business before, but it was non-conforming. So when they close that business and they're trying to open up another business, it has to conform.
Oh, yeah, but it was civic institutional, which means there could be a business, which was the hospital. So there are those things that are listed in those categories of like museum or, something like I said in those, that even a coffee shop was, was not
It was not
in those, right? So, I don't understand how we are continuing to already have somebody, vacate the premise before something's even done. Like how is, I don't understand how that's.
Well, that's why we're doing what we're doing, is.
But shouldn't it have done first?
It should have been, but it wasn't made aware. We were not made aware of that. So now we are trying to go back and rectify all the misdeeds into the correct format for the city. That's what we're trying to do, and that's what the council has directed us to try to do.
Okay, well, I do think that it should not be for the reasons that I stated. So I just want to send it.
Thank you. Anybody else?
These aren't gonna do too much, but it's just mostly so, like some of the stuff I'll reference.
Can you state your name?
Yes, David Simmons, I'm at 1903 3rd Street. This is the stuff I am finding, so it's not so much the question that what we're saying is right or wrong, but everything I'm reading, this is kind of what's leading me to these conclusions, right? So, respectfully, I do ask that, even though this is the plan amendment stage and this is kind of considered a moot point, I really do argue it should still be denied. I believe this is because council rezoned the property first. I believe this was out of order, just like Tiffany said. I will explain why I believe that. I realize we were hearing contrary, but everything I am reading online, everything, like I have been a clinical researcher, research is what I do, robotic process automation, my whole job is looking for errors in code. I see errors, right? The amendment step is supposed to guide how we grow. These are our guiding documents. They're not to be an after-the-fact approval of a decision already made, because this still needs approval tonight. Everything I'm reading online says, just like Tiffany said, comprehensive plans must be first. This is what I've read for Texas, other cities in Texas as well. I did read, though, that some jurisdictions allow both to be voted on at the same time, but I really could not find that zoning is allowed to be first before comprehensive plans. I realize that probably happens. I saw sketchy stuff in healthcare all the time that was out of order, but from what I'm reading on a policy level, that's not what it's supposed to be. The comprehension plan is supposed to be the policy framework, and the zoning is supposed to be the implementation plan. I really did a lot more than just a Google search, I promise. But if you just Google what's supposed to be first, a comprehensive plan or the zoning, it always says comprehensive plan. So in Texas Local Government Code 211004, the quote is, its zoning regulations must be adopted in accordance with the comprehensive plan. Honestly, it has been a little jumbled. It hasn't been made clear to me really what we interpreted wrong in these laws, but I think this is the part that's open to interpretation. But the definition of accordance is conformity or agreement, and just for reference, conformities is compliance with standards, rules, and laws. So the phrase in accordance should mean in agreement or compliance with the rules. Our future land use plan, also shown by the city ordinance, has been adopted by city ordinance. It is now part of our rules. At the time council rezoned this tract to business B, the future land use plan still designated it residential. To me, with those definitions, that means the rezoning was not in accordance with the plan at the time of adoption. The plan has not been changed or voted on yet. That is tonight and the subsequent council meeting. I realize this is recommendation tonight. But since October 23rd, when the rezoning was approved, to my knowledge, this has been in violation of that law. And the fix isn't to let this be in violation for a couple weeks and then amend it. It's by amending the plan first so that when you do rezone, there's 0 days of it being in violation. If we want to stop that being so tedious, you only have to amend one city ordinance instead of dealing with this every time there's a rezoning. That's what the rules read like to me in our own city ordinances. But if my interpretation is wrong, And in accordance is that it doesn't matter whether the plan and zoning align at the time of adoption, and only that they eventually align after the fact, then yeah, these hearings really are meaningless. That interpretation assumes approval is inevitable and that denial is never even a real option at this stage. But the law requires hearings because the community is supposed to have a genuine chance to say no. And we, for every other meeting, showed up fairly en masse, all the immediate neighbors. So if alignment can always be fixed later, then there's no intent to even consider denial at this stage. And be honest, we don't normally even consider denial of a plan amendment if zoning's already approved. I believe this undermines the statute and purpose of
Thank you,
public
David.
input.
Oh, no, you've got one more minute, go ahead.
I will skip to the end though, so I'll skip that part. Honestly, this is everything I'm reading online. This is other cities in Texas. I know the attorney said that you can't find cases for this. You flip to the back. I found cases for this. I did find more. I felt it was ridiculous to submit 7 pages. People don't look at it. You lose people. I've noticed if I talk too much, I lose people. So I'm trying to be as brief as possible, but everything to me shows this should have been denied a long time ago. We should have been able as a community to deny this at the plan, and zoning never should have been applied for. The zoning was applied for, so now I agree, what's the point in stopping the plan amendment, because, hell, it's already approved. But everything I'm reading, every research, we've also referenced to, lawyers are expensive, we can't afford it. But the lawyers that gave us free input said, looks questionable based off city ordinance, and we even did get a judge's opinion, and they said the same thing. We do have non-local attorneys as well that said the same thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are any more.
I have something.
Okay.
Hi.
State your name, please.
I'm Rachel Draper, and I'm here as myself and not as a representative of anyone else.
But you're gonna write on that.
You-
You're still gonna write an article on it. but
Yes,
you're here. Okay,
That's
gotcha.
correct. Okay, so my concern is with the process of how things occurred related to this item at the last city council meeting. So the planning and zoning chairperson spoke on behalf of the committee to relay the decision that was made regarding 1901 3rd Street. And she stated something about committee members having confusion about the amendments, which Monica Belize confirmed. But there was no other information given about that, a clarification on the confusion. If someone did talk to you after, or something, what was the confusion? This confusion didn't happen out loud during the P&Z meeting, unless there was something further that was stated later. And I feel like those concerned members, if they didn't leave a statement, or if they did, that should have been read aloud during the council meeting, because now there's more distrust with the so many people that came up there to speak that evening. So I just have a problem with that. Was that an accurate representation of what happened during the meeting, what you relayed to council? Also, during that meeting, which I know is not specific to tonight, but it's related to the amendment, Ms. Willie said that the staff felt it was in the best, it was best for the city to move forward. But what evidence? You didn't share any evidence about what Jacob or anyone else shared. Were there studies? What was used to make that determination, other than the staff feels that it's in the best interest to change this to move forward? I get it, those sound like great words, but we deserve evidence. And we didn't get that, so there's a feeling of distrust. And yes, I'm going to write about this. Now I'm back as Rachel Draper of the Wilson County News. I'll be writing about this and sharing quotes from the meeting, and I hope to accurately reflect what occurs here tonight. Thank you. Also, I don't know if I heard, but who's John?
He's our planning.
James.
He's our,
John James?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Have John speak to you. Hey, John, you want to speak a little bit about timing on amendments and planning? Because I know you and I had a pretty spirited debate on that topic. So, in your experience as a planner.
Yeah, I mean, I think ideally you would do the plan amendment. Most cities do them, as was mentioned, at the same time as a zoning amendment. But as Dan mentioned earlier, I have seen it done, with the zoning first. Now, I would say that with the city council's consideration of that and their direction to amend the plan, and with the public hearing and all of the procedural requirements that went into the rezoning, in my mind, that's what makes this different than if they had, just approved a rezoning without consideration of the future land use plan at the same time. I also do want to point out that there are 3 properties affected by this future land use amendment. Only one of them is the property that was rezoned at the last city council meeting. So I just want to be clear that the 2 other properties, both are non-conforming, they're already businesses. And so this is doing it after the fact in that sense. But for those were legal non-conforming uses prior to, and this is basically fixing that. You could always say no to those, but you would be leaving a legal non-conforming business, that you basically be saying a business couldn't reopen at that location. So if you think a business is appropriate, then this future land use map amendment is necessary for that. I don't know if that answered all your question, Dan, or.
Yeah, no, that's fine, thank you.
Okay, if there's no more citizen comments, I'm going to move to, we need an action.
So, can I bring something? So, so the city has already decided, we've already had a public hearing on it, and the city's already decided to approve this,
The zoning.
the zoning. That's correct?
And we have to.
And we've already done
amendment.
it. So, and now they've already done the amendment, basically, we're in the business of giving them the amendment now.
So, only partially, one property has already been rezoned, okay?
Mhm.
As John said, this amendment, this future land use amendment applies to more than one property. It's
Of course.
multiple properties.
So we're about to give it
One
now.
of which is on the agenda tonight for a recommendation on rezoning.
Right,
But others that are not, that are non-conforming businesses.
right.
Behind this, in the coming months, the city's going to be taking a broader look at the comprehensive plan and the future land use. And I expect this to increase in area, the amount of commercial that's recommended in this vicinity.
I get it, but we're
Yes.
doing the amendment right now.
That's right.
For this-
For all 3 properties.
I get it. And then we're gonna vote again so that they can approve this it's done as far as being once it's amended, it's already been approved now as being a commercial, business property. So we're not going back to that again.
No.
This is just now following up
It's
the
a
amendment.
recommendation from us to
Of
the
course.
council regarding the.
So that's my
amendment.
first thing, is that we're basically, I was one of the ones, and there was another person that questioned this. I don't think I was not understanding. I knew what I was understanding. I was asking for this first, which he's clarified, you usually do first. I've worked with other cities, so that's the answer to that. The second thing is, now that we are doing the amendment, now it does make it is giving what's basically on paper. We're correcting a bunch of errors to the point where it really is already there. And to follow up with you after the meeting that day, you asked me, why did you vote yes the first time and no the second time? It's because I had not the correct answer with the amendment, because we're following outside of lines. And once I realized we were outside lines, right, now we're conforming back to lines. So I could not consciously vote for it at that time, for that reason, okay? So, anyway, but now it's all getting back into line, which is what all of everybody here is asking for, is that why aren't we in line, and where is that space? I don't want you to leave this room without knowing that there were some behind the scenes things going and you're mistrusting, because it wasn't any mistrust or anything like that. It was more about, we're trying to follow some rules that probably weren't given to everybody right at the prominent time. We were all working with this, so, anyway, but I just wanted to make sure here tonight, stating, and it sounds like he's pretty much clarifying that we're here, and you're agreeing that this is moving forward, this is it, yes?
Yes, this would resolve, those issues that, would have been an issue if not for this amendment.
Right.
That's right.
So I have a question. I know that this is gonna cover 3 properties. Is there potential for additional properties to have to come to us for rezoning? Or is this amendment gonna cover a broader area of the map?
This amendment, only covers those 3 properties.
Okay,
In the future, if somebody applies for a rezoning and they're not consistent with the future land use plan, then staff will identify that and we will bring, with any rezoning that meets that criteria, we would also bring a future land use amendment at the same time,
okay,
so that those would be considered concurrently.
okay, good.
And future land use, I guess at that point, y'all are gonna take some kind of public, hearings or anything like that before y'all complete that too?
Yeah, if you're talking about the big project.
Like the big future.
Citywide, yes, there'll be town halls and
Yes.
surveys and public meetings, multiple for that project, for sure.
Okay, so that would help people who would, to understand that this is not a behind the closed doors, us deciding.
Consideration and action on an amendment to the future land use plan map for an area in the general vicinity of the intersection of Third Street, Business Loop 181 North, and Hospital Boulevard. We have finished the interesting comments, and I will entertain a motion. There is one to be made.
At this time, we make a motion that we approve this.
And I second it.
I have a motion to approve and a second to approve. All in favor? Moving on to D, consideration and action on a request to rezone of 0.866 acre tract of land located at 1295 Hospital Boulevard, rezoning from R1 single family residential to B business. You want to go ahead and introduce
Yes.
this, please?
We have an application from SPG Ranch, and what they're doing is there's a 0.86 acre lot that they're wanting to do a business there. So they're asking, it is zoned residential, it does show on their zoning map as residential. They're wanting to rezone it to B so they can have that business there. And you have the surveys, you have the maps, they're all there. And I do have Ms. Cameron here, if you have any questions you would like to ask her. It's the building at the hospital, the old hospital.
It's the old
Yeah,
complex.
yeah,
It's not the whole lot, it's just a 0.86 acre. She is gonna come and present a plat in the future.
Is this the Nichols Barbecue?
Yes.
Okay. So this was the bakery and coffee shop prior, okay, and so it was operated as retail, basically, in non-conforming. But now that we have an amendment to our future land use, this property is in that area,
Yes.
and so now it should just be a formality. Okay, I make a motion that we approve it.
I have a motion.
Second.
Oh, you know what? I need to ask for some comments if there are.
Sorry.
Well, we did, and she didn't have anything.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. So I have a
Yeah.
motion and a second.
And a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. C, consideration and action to approve a replat of Lot 2 and Lot 900 of the Gemco Holdings Incorporated Development Subdivision Plat, which is 17.26 acres located on US 181 near County Road 330.
Okay, so what you have in your packet is a plat. I made it big, because I have a hard time looking at the little ones myself. Lot 1 is the existing stepdaddy's right now, so they're replatting Lot 2, 3, 4, And lot 900 and 901. 900 is actually the entrance, like a little ingress egress.
Mm.
Lot 901 is their drainage area. And lot 3 is where they're proposing to put a business there. I don't know if the engineers,
Right.
Steve,
Yes.
nice to meet you. This is Steve, he's the engineer for the project. And then, of course, you have the remainder, lot 2, 12.73 acres. We sent all the comments, there's no objections from our engineers, both Intrepid and M&S, and Phelps has also sent in objections to the plan.
What about the drainage going down into that creek road? Yeah, I know, they're
So that's a great question. The 901 lot
Uh-huh,
is actually a area for detention pond.
okay, so you're
So that we're very, very aware of, just how the drainage goes. We want to do our part, obviously. And to be fair, the 901 lot actually just covers, lots, and we actually over detain for lots, because, they all kind of go the same place. So we considered lots 1, 3, and 4, fill that pond, and then there's space, I wanna say, yes, north of that. The other, like, if you just push it to make another pond or expand the pond for the remainder of lot 2, depending on whatever lot 2 turns into. Because it's still up in the air, what, it's gonna happen with lot 2.
So, I understand like the first, building is possibly gonna be Sherwin-Williams,
Correct.
and they're gonna process paint and have chemicals. Yes, they're gonna be able to, because it's a commercial building, they can do whatever they want. If they want to mix paint, have chemicals, they can have that. So my question is, do we have any kind of a system in place if we have a spill, or how much, all that drainage off those, that parking lot and all that, whatever it is, do we have any kind of a, it's not like it's a city, block that I've gotta worry about how much, is going into a retention pond. Let's say like the school over there and it's going into a creek and that kind of stuff.
That's understandable, and I get the question. I will tell you, just for full transparency, that there's not a spill drain on the exterior. Interior wise, they have internal drains.
So they're gonna be showing us, in their buildings, I guess, or whatever,
Right,
their stuff.
so, yes, sir, so the building plans and everything right now are actually.
Still getting put together.
Well, they're, under review. We've got some comments on it from the city as well.
Okay.
And so, yeah, the interior will have, drains and stuff, obviously there's the
Yeah.
shutters and things like that.
I'm just worried more like the guttering and then what type of, cause, at my other life, I own a construction company. So, and I buy from Sherwin-Williams a lot, and at the couple of stores I do, I get commercial paint and all the chemicals I put together, and things happen. We can't help it. And so, I'm just trying to figure out, because I'm looking at that residence that's sitting right below them. And then all that water comes through town, of course, through all here. So I'm just trying to EPA factor.
Again, I can't speak for what's inside the,
I know, of course not. I understand.
but
Well, you're
we
collecting
understand-
everything.
Correct, we understand that the interior will have, its own drain, and it will go to sewer, after whatever checks they have. On exterior, we will have, inlets and whatnot, but there's no special like
There's
protection.
not, okay.
It's outside the planning process. It's really not within the purview on this.
One that exists like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know
Cause
if
you
there's
want-
one that actually exists like that in the public.
Yeah, well, I'm just asking as a retention pond, I mean, we've been seeing that go up a lot and retention ponds are, they're a thing.
There's any other, I'll entertain a motion. I have a motion to approve,
A second.
second, motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. D was on the table because it's, under advisement that we need to have a public hearing for that item, so it'll come back to us. And, if there's nothing else from anybody, we'll adjourn.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should.
Really?
At least, I haven't